There's a moment, quiet and fleeting, when you notice something is off. A hand reaching for the TV remote trembles slightly. A breath seems shorter than it used to be. A favorite meal remains untouched. These aren't loud alarms, they whisper. But those whispers carry weight. You tell yourself it's just aging, just tiredness, just the weather. But deep down, something stirs. A worry. A feeling you can't quite name. You see your mother watching the same old sitcom, but she doesn't laugh like before. You notice your father sleeping more during the day, his once booming voice now faint and slow. This video isn't about fear, it's about listening, closely, to the silent signs our loved ones may be sending. Signs that the body is fading in ways words don't always explain. We're not here to dwell in sadness, but to bring awareness. Because sometimes, the most critical signals are the ones we almost miss. And when we miss them, it can be too late to say what matters most. Let's walk through the signs together, with gentleness, with honesty, and with hope. It started one evening when Ava Mitchell paused halfway up the stairs. She clutched the railing, her chest rising and falling faster than usual, just a bit winded. She smiled, brushing it off. But her daughter, Zoe, noticed something else. A subtle gray tint to her lips, a coolness in her fingertips. Breath is life's quiet rhythm. We rarely think about it, until it falters. In older adults, shortness of breath can be more than just a sign of getting tired. It can signal weakened heart muscles or stiffening lungs. As the body ages, the cardiovascular system may struggle to circulate blood efficiently. Oxygen delivery slows down, and with it so does everything else. Cold hands, swollen ankles, a persistent cough that lingers like a forgotten whisper. These are not just random inconveniences. They're messages. A body gently saying, "I'm trying, but I'm tired." Poor circulation doesn't always scream for attention, but it affects everything, from brain clarity to immune strength. It eats the silent root of fatigue, dizziness, and even confusion. Imagine the heart as a once mighty river now thinning into a stream. The flow still moves, but slower, with more effort, less grace. Zoe noticed Ava began to avoid walks she used to love. She sat more, spoke less, not out of sadness, but because every breath was a small battle. And yet, she never complained. That's what makes it so easy to miss. So here's what we can do: pay attention. Listen to how our loved ones breathe when they climb stairs, or even when they sleep. Watch for the little things. Hands colder than they should be, a need to rest after short walks, a voice that tires quickly. These aren't just signs of aging. They may be the body quietly calling for care. There was a time when Ava could rise with the sun, brew her morning tea, and greet the day with steady hands. But lately, even lifting the kettle felt like a task. Her limbs ached with no clear cause. She slept more than usual, yet never felt rested. The spark behind her eyes dimmed slowly, imperceptibly. Fatigue in the elderly isn't just about needing more rest. It's the body waving a white flag. Unlike the exhaustion we feel after a long day's work, this type of fatigue is unrelenting. It lingers even after sleep. It makes simple tasks, like brushing hair or standing up, feel like scaling a mountain. This deep weariness often comes from a combination of factors: weakened muscles, declining organ function, slow metabolism, and reduced oxygen flow. The body begins conserving energy, prioritizing only what's essential. It's a quiet shift, a life narrowing its focus. You might notice the signs in small ways. Meals take longer to prepare. Conversations trail off mid-sentence. A once active person now hesitates before getting out of a chair. It's not just tiredness. It's the slow retreat of a body that's done so much for so long. And still, they rarely mention it. Many older adults accept this fatigue as just getting old. But there's a difference between aging and fading. One is natural, the other might be preventable, or at least manageable, if caught in time. Zoe saw it clearly one morning when Ava sat at the kitchen table, eyes unfocused, toast untouched. Her hands trembled slightly. "I just don't have the energy today," she whispered. Not with sadness, but surrender. That quiet surrender is what we must watch for, because fatigue like this isn't always about sleep. It can be a sign of heart issues, lung problems, anemia, or even the early stages of organ failure. It's the body saving its last reserves, pulling back from what once brought it joy. If someone you love seems slower, quieter, or less interested in daily life, pause. Don't assume it's just old age. Gently ask. Offer help. Sit beside them, and most importantly, believe them. Sometimes all they need is for someone to notice, to see past the silence and recognize the quiet strength it takes just to keep going. Ava had always been resilient. A scratch from gardening. Nothing a little ointment couldn't fix. A winter cold, she'd be up and moving in a day or two. But lately, things were different. A small nick on her arm lingered for weeks. A simple cold turned into a lingering cough that wouldn't go away. What changed? The body's natural defense. Its immune system was growing quiet. As we age, the immune system doesn't shut down all at once. It dims gradually, like a light fading in the evening. It still fights, still responds, but not with the speed or strength it once had. Infections take hold more easily. Healing takes longer. Recovery becomes harder. For older adults, this weakening defense means that what once was minor, a urinary tract infection, a seasonal flu, can become serious, even life-threatening. Wounds that used to heal in days now stay red, tender, slow to close. Zoe noticed Ava began to get sick more often. A sore throat that lasted for weeks. Antibiotics that didn't work as quickly. A bruise that turned dark and took months to fade. These weren't coincidences. They were signs. The body's armor was thinning. It's not just about illness. It's about resilience. The immune system is what helps us bounce back. It's the reason we recover from surgeries, shake off fevers, and heal from the inside out. When that system weakens, it's like living in a house without locks. Every small thing has the potential to break in. And yet, many elderly people don't speak up. They think, it's just my age. But repeated infections, long recoveries, and chronic inflammation are not normal parts of aging. They're indicators, warnings. Caregivers, family members, and even neighbors should pay attention to these quiet red flags: constant sniffles, skin infections, strange rashes, or a persistent fatigue after illness that never seems to lift. Zoe began keeping a simple notebook, tracking Ava's symptoms, temperatures, bruises. She wasn't being overprotective. She was listening. Because a body that once healed with grace may now need help, and recognizing that is not weakness. It's love. The immune system may slow, but our care can strengthen what time has worn down. Zoe didn't notice it at first. Ava still wore her favorite blue cardigan, still sat in her usual kitchen chair. But one morning, as she helped fold the laundry, Zoe held up a pair of pants, loose, almost slipping off the hanger. They used to fit snugly. Unintentional weight loss in older adults can be one of the most overlooked warning signs of serious health decline. It's gradual, quiet, often masked by baggy sweaters or polite smiles at dinner. But behind the loss of pounds is a deeper story. As the body ages, the sense of taste can fade. Chewing becomes harder. Digestion slows. Meals become chores instead of pleasures. Some elderly people begin skipping meals, not out of protest, but out of fatigue, nausea, or a simple lack of appetite. And when food loses its joy, so does part of life. Zoe began to notice Ava's patterns: toast left untouched, half-finished bowls of soup, grocery bags lighter than before. She tried to brush it off. "I'm just not hungry," Ava would say. But the change in her body said otherwise. This kind of weight loss isn't just about fat or muscle. It's about nutrition. The fuel the body needs to function, fight disease, repair tissue, and think clearly. Without it, systems begin to shut down one by one. Sometimes it's caused by undiagnosed illness, thyroid issues, digestive disorders, even early-stage cancers. Other times, it's emotional grief, depression, or loneliness that curbs the desire to eat. Zoe remembered the meals Ava used to love. The laughter over Sunday pot roast. The warm smell of cinnamon in the kitchen. Now, the house felt quieter and emptier. The body, in its wisdom, knows when it's not getting what it needs. Weight loss becomes the symptom we can see. But it often signals what we can't. So what can we do? Start by paying attention. Notice when clothes don't fit, when plates return to the sink half full, when once loved recipes go untouched. be gentle, be curious. Sometimes, a warm bowl of soup shared together means more than any vitamin supplement. Encouragement, routine, and connection can help rekindle the desire to nourish not just the body, but the spirit. Because eating isn't just survival. For many, it's memory, culture, love. And when someone begins to lose that connection, it's time to step in, not with judgment, but with compassion. Ava had always loved crossword puzzles. Every morning, she'd sit by the window with a pencil in hand, the newspaper folded just so. But lately Zoe noticed something strange. The same puzzle left unfinished for days. Words repeated. Simple clues unanswered. And then came the moment Ava called her Maggie. The name of a cousin long past. Cognitive decline isn't always sudden. It tiptoes in. First, it's misplacing keys. Then it's forgetting appointments, losing track of days, repeating stories. But slowly, gently, it becomes more than forgetfulness. It becomes disconnection. The brain, like any other organ, ages, blood flow decreases, neurons slow down, processing becomes harder. But when confusion becomes daily, when clarity becomes fleeting, it's time to pay attention. Zoe noticed Ava began to retreat. She no longer answered the phone. Conversations were shorter, vaguer. The television stayed on all day, not for entertainment, but as background noise to fill the growing silence. Ava would stare, not watching, just existing. This withdrawal is one of the most heartbreaking signs. It's the mind's quiet retreat inward, like a sunset dimming behind clouds. Dementia, Alzheimer's, and other cognitive conditions affect millions, yet many families hesitate to acknowledge the signs. Fear, shame, or the hope that "it's just a bad week" can delay action. But early signs matter. Sometimes confusion shows in subtle ways: a misplaced shoe in the fridge, forgetting how to work the microwave, or calling a grandchild by the wrong name. Other times it's behavioral: irritability, restlessness, or long periods of silence. And behind it all, often, is fear. Ava once whispered to Zoe, "I feel like the world is moving too fast. I can't catch up anymore." That sentence stayed with her longer than any diagnosis ever could. If someone you love is showing these signs, don't correct them harshly. Don't rush them. Don't ignore the slip-ups. Sit with them. Speak gently. Create routines. Offer notes and reminders, and above all, offer presence. Because when the mind begins to wander, what grounds someone most is love. It's easy to focus on what's lost, but in those moments of clarity, when a familiar song plays or a familiar voice calls, something beautiful can return, even if briefly. Hold on to that. Celebrate it. And remember, even when memory fades, the feeling of being loved does not. Every sign we've spoken about, shortness of breath, unshakable fatigue, slow healing, unexpected weight loss, or fading memory, may seem small on their own. But together they tell a quiet story. A story of a body that has fought for decades, loved fiercely, endured storms, and given its all. To those living in these bodies, you are not broken. You are not fading away unnoticed. You are warriors in slow motion. With skin that's weathered but brave, and hearts that still hold the rhythm of stories untold. You've carried families, worked through pain, laughed through loss, and stayed strong for everyone else. Now, let others be strong for you. To the children, the grandchildren, the neighbors and friends, look closer. Listen not just to words, but to silences. Notice the half-eaten meals, the quiet pauses, the hands reaching for balance. These are not inconveniences. They are invitations. To be present, to be kind, to love more loudly. We often wait for dramatic moments to say what matters. But the truth is, most goodbyes begin quietly. Don't wait, hold their hand. Make that phone call, sit a little longer, because the most precious thing we can give isn't a cure or a fix. It's time, attention, and love. And sometimes, that's exactly what helps a soul stay just a little longer.